So, yeah, here we go. Here we apparently go into an apparent meeting. So, we're just going to talk as everyone has been here before, I think. Yeah, don't see anybody new here. Maybe. Or maybe Richard Hughes, maybe, or I'm not sure. Anyway, so the way it is, if you are, I don't know, if so many Richards, maybe you're not new, Richard, but it's very simple. As you've seen on YouTube or whatever. You just jump in and you just, if you have something to ask, you ask it. If you don't, you don't. And that's it. And some sort of a conversation emerges and it's a discussion about nothing. It's another possibility. And there's no silly questions or whatever. It doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. It's all energetic. So we can start anywhere in any kind of way. Um, Sometimes I have a long rambling introduction. I just go on and on and on and on and on. You can't shut me up. But that doesn't happen very often, really, because it doesn't matter really. It's very simple. There's just what's appearing to happen. Very, 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 like seeing it's very simple is does not in any way capture how simple it is. It's so ordinary, direct, and already what's appearing to happen that it's totally overlooked in favor of what could be and might be and something that's around the corner. And so this is just a discussion about that lived sense of separateness that feels absolutely real. And it can, at any point, it can be felt, that lived, really felt sense of separation at any time, any point, because there is no time. It could just not be there. It's very simple. It's not a big fireworky, explosive event, really, in many ways, but it can be. It's very simple. It's just that there's whatever is appearing to happen, and it seemed that that's all there ever was. That's all there ever was, is wholeness, aliveness, oneness, energy. And it was a misconception and also a really felt energetic sense that there was a you that had a life to begin with. Never has been a you or anyone else. So there we go.
Mind if I jump in and say hi, Kenneth?
Oh, hi, yeah.
How's it going, man?
Good, man. Good to see you. I'm trying to remember your name again.
Chris
Oh, Chris.
Sickler.
Yeah, Chris, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah,
Chris.
yeah. How you doing, Chris?
Non-Sticker.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just got the Zoom link like an hour ago and so I figured I'd jump on. I wasn't doing anything, so
So here you apparently are.
yeah. I think I messaged you like a month ago on the WhatsApp message. I don't
Yeah,
know.
my WhatsApp's been out of action again. And then what
Is
happens
it?
is I have trouble with it, and then basically I'm back from I did a week in a retreat in Germany, and then I'm back into kind of personal stuff going on, family stuff, and then so it'll probably be Monday before I've had quite a few emails about that saying I just haven't been
Okay.
available on it. So
Yeah.
it's not personal. I'll probably I'll put something in an email actually that about that, and it'll be the best way always is to email and call, and then let's see it.
Yeah, I think Blaine tried it too.
Yeah, I
You
just tell
remember?
them the same thing. Yeah, I'll put it in an email anyway. It's the same. The loads of people have been trying to. I just haven't been available. Simple as that, really.
Yeah, I know you've been busy. You've been traveling a lot.
Yeah, between the traveling and family stuff, just the way it goes sometimes. Another, yeah.
But, yeah. Well,
But it's not, it
nice.
hasn't changed or anything. I will be available on it again. Uh,
Cool.
I like that. Yeah.
It's good to see you. I'm glad
Yeah,
I
you
caught the
too,
link.
Chris.
Yeah.
Hi, Kenneth.
Susie, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Um, I just woke up. It's like
Ah,
11 o'clock or something here.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about last Friday. We had to put our dog down of 14 years.
ah,
Yeah, and it was obviously heartbreaking,
mm,
and I'm fine, it's just like if there's tears, and then there's not, and it's fine. But I just really wanted to ask you about apparent death.
mm-hmm.
And this is eternity, this is timelessness, this is it. There's nothing else. Um, I don't know. I just guess it's just sort of rattled things a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It's when you feel like an individual, there's a real sense that it's a loss, whether it's your dog or, a person, um, someone you love dies, and it's a loss. It's a very, very, you know, keenly felt, impactful loss. And that's really one of the only things I can say about it is that when you're not there, when you don't feel like an individual, that sense that something has been lost isn't there. I don't, that's my comment on it
Mm,
anyway. And that the reason is then because it's just because you didn't feel like this subject, this person anymore, and it wasn't an object, the person, or in this case, the dog, wasn't an object to your subject. It's seen that the dog is aliveness as a dog, and it appears that the body stops functioning and the dog dies. Objectively, the
mm.
dog is dead. Excuse me, and you miss the dog. But what's seen really is that it is aliveness as that dog. What was his name or her name?
Scooter.
Skia. So
No, scooter.
oh, Scoot,
Scooter.
Scooter. Sorry, it's the Australian
Yeah.
accent. Yeah, Scooter is life scootered, life scooters, and then life because there's only one, and there's no loss because aliveness, flowers and raindrops and scooters, um, and
Mm,
and 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 teardrops and sadness and everything.
mm.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's the way it is. It's all just full on aliveness. There's
Yeah.
nobody's ever died really because nobody's ever been born.
Yeah.
In the story they have, of course they have objectively from someone is born, but like, and they're born, they live their, if we just apply it to a person instead of switching over between
Yeah.
dogs and
Yeah.
people, but it's
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
same discussion anyway. So you're
Yeah.
born, you live your life, and you die, right? That's a
Mhm.
very simple statement that everybody would agree with. This conversation we're having here is another possibility, right? It's very simple. There's no
Mm.
you that was born. There's no you that lived your life simply because there's no you that has a life to live. It's an illusion.
Mm.
It's a total
Yeah.
dream. You're not talking now, I'm not talking, there's sitting, there's immediately whatever's appearing to happen. And obviously then you don't lose your life because you have to have a life to lose a life. It's the same with the dog. It's just, and that's why it's just so, death is nothing to be afraid of then, because there's not even there's not even a thing called death then. It's just,
Mm.
there's not, because there's not two, there's not life and death.
Yeah.
And so there's just what appears to happen, and people who are animals that you love. I mean, look at the unconditional love from a dog. It's, oh my goodness. I'm a
Yeah.
real dog lover. Like, I mean, beautiful. And then they're not around and there's sadness. What's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean anything.
No.
Sad, it's the most natural thing, of course. And if it was a partner or a child, I mean, that's a whole other kind of conversation around that sadness. That's a physiological, um, cellular wallop that is kind of appears to be processed as it's processed. There's no shortcuts around it. There's no, and that's the way it is. You can't, as someone, I was watching someone recently and they said, oh, there was a spiritual kind of vibe to him. Oh, you got kind of non-dual it all away. I was laughing. It's like
Mm.
non-dual it away. Like, I mean, yeah, like you can't, this is not a concept. You
No.
take this as a concept and think it's completely not heard. So sadness is sadness, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a denial of anything.
No, it's full on. Actually, it's more painful.
Yeah.
It's more painful. The reason is, and logically, the individual would feel, well, if I'm not an individual, sadness wouldn't be there, because the individual will invariably imagine something that's positive and all the negative stuff kind of falls away. And actually, the negative stuff is full on. It's more full on. Pain is more painful. And
Yeah.
it's very simple, the reason. It's not complex or anything. It's because it's no longer your pain. So it's just full on
Yes.
free fall aliveness. So you're not trying
Yeah.
to dampen it down and know it and do something with it. Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. No. Absolutely. It just feels full on, and
mm,
um, no trying to sort of get away from it. Like I think when I heard this message, I thought I'd have to be there in order to feel something. I thought that
yeah,
there would be a level of detachment, but there isn't. It is full on. And
yeah,
my mum is quite sick at the moment. She has dementia,
yeah,
and she's in a facility, and it's fine. It's like not a sad. I mean, it's a sad story, but it's
yeah. It's
fine. It is
it's
what it
life
is.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's life. And I just thought that there I would be sort of removed from that, but it's not. It's full compassion. It's full
Mm,
compassion.
mm.
Whatever's arising, it's it. And yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's your mommy. So it's full on
yeah,
aliveness and love and everything. Like, this is all embracing of everything. It's not, it's all embracing. Anything can happen. Anything is, even saying anything is allowed. That's nonsense. Like, it's just full on aliveness. Not liking a situation. That's what's appearing to happen. Being okay with it is appearing to
yeah,
happen. Feeling upset is appearing to happens.
yeah. And not feeling upset too.
I'm not feeling upset, exactly, yeah, because
Yeah,
that's exactly it. If you're
yeah,
there's a sense of being an individual, there's a kind of script as to how I should behave in certain situations and how I should be in certain situations. So it's a kind of face to meet the faces that we meet thing, the T.S. Eliot thing, as we've been kind of gets quoted every week now at this stage, but it is that kind of a thing. I have, oh, your mum's there, you should be really sad.
Yeah,
You're being told by other people what to feel or whatever, and it's like there,
yeah,
if there's sadness, there's sadness. If there's,
yeah,
but unconditional love is everything. So it's joy, it's sadness, it's everything. So it's
yeah.
inescapable.
Oh, thank you, Kenneth. It's just great
Yeah.
to hear that because there's
Yeah, it's good
just,
to
yeah,
talk it through. I mean, that's the thing. This we can talk about. This is what we people can jump in and say whatever, and we talk about it. I mean,
yeah,
this is an open conversation. This is an open sharing in friendship, and we're in a kind of dream. We're not a kind of a totally dualistic dream, polarized dream where, you're being told what to talk about and what to think, and some things are even death itself is kind of deemed to be a little bit, oh, you're really bringing down people don't even talk about that much, which is, it's a fascinating topic, you know.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing. And
mean,
then,
it's sort of there in, a lot of people's minds in the background, when
oh,
will I
very much.
die? And I guess the whole idea of when Scooter died, the solidity of death sort of becomes more real. And,
Mm,
Richard was asking me, does that mean that we don't go to eternity together?
mm, it's a
There's no
story.
eternity. This is it. This is eternity.
This
This,
is eternity. Yeah, this is everything, nothing being everything. It's just, it's beyond understanding, and anything that's beyond understanding is very frightening. It's very frightening.
yeah.
And because it's your absence, if you can't understand it and know it, it's not to do with you. It's unknowable, you know. You often
Mm,
hear this when I've heard, no, it doesn't get admitted as much as it probably appears to happen, but I've heard many times of people who say it's the weirdest thing when someone dies, I never feel more alive. I never feel more
mm,
alive than that. I'm devastated. I'm really upset. But I have to say, it's everything. I feel total love, complete boundless joy, everything. I've heard that several times, you know.
wow.
But they're not going to go around. You don't. It's not something you go around talking about, you know.
No,
Because you
no.
can't. You have to. We're all in our roles, like, and depending on how close that person was deemed to you, to go around going, fuck, it's amazing too, life, isn't it? It's stunning. People look at you
Yeah.
go, and then I've seen these kind of scenarios where then people go, ah, just hasn't hit them yet. Just hasn't hit them yet. That's what it is, huh? Just hasn't. You're like, well, maybe who the fuck are you to say it hasn't hit them? What do you, that's your stuff, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's full on. It's like the blues. It's all there. It's all there because all there is no there or here, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. It's such a stunning, stunning. There's no realization that is bigger than seeing that you don't have a life. That there's actually no such thing as life and a different thing called death. It's a story.
Mm,
Wow.
yeah. Mm. Thank you so much, Kenneth.
Oh, nice to speak to you, Susie. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you too. Good to see you back. Oh, well, you've been back for a while, but I think it's been hard for me to join
Uh,
the calls.
maybe,
So
yeah, I know I've missed I kind of missed them last week and then I missed them a week before, so it's always the same. You have to kind of remind people again, and I don't like bombarding people with emails, but yeah, we'll see.
it's
I thought
fine.
I'm gonna use the social media more anyway. I'm kind of gearing up to start that. So
Yeah.
so yeah, and the Patreon. So probably should be back on the Wednesday, Friday, and I'll try and keep them going anyway over the summer.
Yeah.
We'll
No,
see what
that's
appears to
great.
happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Susie.
Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, Chris.
Again, something just kind of came up I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, yeah.
It seems like uh, there's just kind of an obsession with non-duality.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't stop thinking about it, and it just continues on and on and on, like 16 hours a day.
Mm.
Even at there's just a lot that comes up, and something might want to be expressed about it, but it just is nonstop, and sometimes it's kind of draining. Like there's just no controlling it. It just happens.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's nobody there to control it. Just what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
there is definitely a wanting for it to just kind of end. The whole just
Yeah. You're in the
thinking it
lion's. You're in the lion's mouth, my friend.
like it's not even important anymore. But it's
Yeah.
just
It's just what's happening. Yeah. It's just because it can become all consuming, and then that's the way it's just going to play out like it does then.
yeah,
Nothing else kind of matters really, or it's just like on your mind all the time, and it's whatever way you want to describe it, and that's the way it appears to happen sometimes for some people. All that can be said here is the same. What's whatever. It doesn't matter the words that are just whatever words come out, and
yeah,
a continual, uh, what appears as repeated, because it's not repeated. Everything is new. Um, Suggestion that actually there's no such thing as non-duality.
yeah,
Whatever whatever you think about it, whatever you imagine is being said, whatever ideas you have about it are just that, they're just ideas. It cannot be imagined. It's
yeah,
and it's too simple. It's just directly, simply, immediately whatever is appearing to happen. That's what it is. So whatever you said there, that's what's appearing to happen. And if that's you didn't say this, but say if you said it's frustrating or whatever, not to be putting words in your mouth, but just to kind of sum that up, to put a word on it, it would be the frustration.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, I've been. I guess there's just been a questioning as to what it exactly is that I'm seeking anymore. Does it? Not. It's not. That's not clear.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because maybe it's sense that not it's clearly not anything. You're not seeking anything. It's not a thing, like it's not an experience or state or knowledge or anything like that. It can be like that. It can be just quite obvious that I'm never going to arrive.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm never going to arrive because there is no place to arrive at.
right. Yeah, there's no orientation, no direction.
No, none whatsoever. Only when you feel like an individual. And that can be if that still feels separate, that's very unnerving. In
Yeah,
general, I mean, in general, I'm not, uh, just, we're talking in general here. Yeah, it's unnerving. You want the orientation, you want the kind of sense you're headed in the right direction. And all of that is just confirming that there's a you there that's headed in the right direction.
yeah.
There never has been a you there. There's just
freedom,
alignment.
there's freedom in that, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's just been so used to having a direction, knowing where this is going,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
not having that. Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
mean, it's the freedom, but at the same time, I think there's still a want. I still want it direction. I still want
Yeah,
to
of
go.
course you do. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's why the way it is. Like the individual wants to know what we're talking about. The individual wants a direction. The individual wants a prescription. The individual wants a methodology. The wants all the That's what the questions are about.
I just don't want to be.
Energetically, the individual wants to be fed. Of
I don't
course.
want to be interested in this stuff anymore. I just want to
Yeah, of
move on.
course. Yeah, that's what I said. You're in the lion's mouth. That's what you described is commonly called you're in the lion's mouth then. It's like you can't think about anything else, and you don't want to be thinking about this stuff anymore. So there's
Mm.
kind of no, it feels like there's no way forward and there's no way back. It's impossible.
Yeah.
That's what that term refers to. It's quite common. I don't know if it's common the word, but it's, yeah, it's not unusual, you know. There's just what's going to happen, and that is inclusive, inclusive, obviously, of all sorts of feelings of frustration and sadness and anger and blah blah blah, whatever. All
Yeah.
sorts of yearnings, wanting a direction,
Mm.
whatever it is. Wishing you'd never heard of this. That's also what's appearing to happen. Maybe whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just,
I wouldn't go that far.
yeah, I know I'm
it,
talking in general, like that's how the,
it is appreciated, I guess,
yeah, I
that
think
came.
my feeling
Yeah.
is having met you in, it resonates there. Whatever's been said, it's resonating. And like everyone else that feels like an individual, there's this confusion around it. So it's both.
Mm.
It's very typical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Of course it is.
fusion really isn't mine. There's no one behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like it's a completely, like some logically to the individual, it would be, well, not being confused or not being this or not feeling, that's like, that would be viewed as a positive thing, as opposed to, it's all a story. There's just what's appearing to happen. It does not matter. None of it matters. None of it is any way significant. And all
Yeah.
anyone can do is, well, they could pretend, but what's the point? Like, just all any, this is
Yeah.
a discussion in which people can just say what's going on, appearing to go on. Maybe they feel like an individual, maybe they don't feel like an individual, maybe blah, blah, blah. But that, who cares? Just say what's appearing to go on. And then the other possibility is can resonate, and it's not an intellectual knowing or understanding. It's that real sense of being an individual just isn't there, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's never going to be what you think it could be or imagine it to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Impossible, because if it is, then it's knowable. I mean, it would be something that could be held in the mind.
Yeah. There's no really understanding of anything, it seems like. But
Hmm.
I mean, all this that's being spoken is just conceptual. There's always like a conceptual understanding.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. There is a conceptual understanding when it comes to language and a discussion. There is that manner in which we interact and we communicate in is like implicit in that is a conceptual understanding, you know. Of course it is. But then the whole invitation is to see that that's just that. It's just an understanding or knowing. It's not what we're really talking about,
Mm.
because what we're talking about is not knowable. It's energetic.
Mm.
So therefore, ergo, someone feeling separate, or someone like saying, "Well, I believe you. This is amazing." Whatever is the same as someone saying, "No, it's a load of bullshit. Don't like this." Doesn't matter. Well, fair enough. Then it's a load of bullshit. Or fair enough. It's amazing. Fair enough. I don't know. It's just all words, really, because it's not an ideology or belief there's nothing to hold on to with any of this.
Yeah.
Totally impersonal. Like what is yearned for is absolutely, completely, stunningly impersonal and
Mm.
nothing whatsoever to do with you. Like that's crazy. Because everything, like as an individual, everything it's all to do with me. It's always
Mm.
to do with me.
Yeah, it's always
Because
been
it's
there.
it's a real lived sense, it's my life. So I've somehow taken the wrong path in life, or I've fucked up my life and I have to try and get back on track. And whatever the narrative is, it's all me, me, me. Or maybe I'm amazing. Just I'm amazing. People don't realize how amazing I am. It's a big problem for me. You
I must
know,
have told you my story already.
I must have what?
Must have told you my story already. You haven't had.
Yeah, that's what I remember you from Asheville. It's just a mystery as to why people don't enjoy me more. I think something like that. Direct quote, is it? I
Um,
know we're just having fun. Yeah, I mean that. It's just the way it is. Though. It's so amazing that it's so incredible that when it's seen, it's logical here, but of course, but when it's first seen that actually what I've always yearned for is nothing to do with me at all. Of course it doesn't, because there is no you. Because actually what's yearned for is to not be a separate me. So the quality, or the not the quality, but the yeah, the kind of detail of the narrative of your story of you is irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's the story. It's the whole scene, that it is a narrative, not that what the narrative is telling. So,
Yeah. Beautiful, Kenneth. Thank you.
oh yeah.
Hey Kenneth,
Richard,
how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you. Perfect.
Oh, great.
Have you
Um,
been on here before?
I haven't.
Oh
No.
yeah, I was thinking. So you're very welcome. It's nice to see
Oh,
you.
sound. Yeah,
Mm,
thanks a lot.
yeah.
I mean, I've heard you, I've heard you before, but I've never actually had the chance to be on. And I just saw there was a Zoom, and then I nearly had Zoom rage trying to click in to pay your PayPal. So I haven't done that yet, and I will
No,
try and work that.
don't worry about that.
I was
What I
trying to
say in
work.
the email is people can join, and then the links are in the chat there, so whenever you get
Well, I
around to
just
it.
tried to do it there, but somehow I had to go back onto my phone to put numbers in, and
Oh, don't
but
worry
I'm
about it.
missing
Figure it
the.
out.
Okay, fine.
Don't be stressed out about it. Figure it out
Okay,
again.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Just I don't know if I've got a question really. More just open my mouth and connect and
Yeah,
say
yeah, it
hello
doesn't
really.
matter. It doesn't matter,
Um, and I mean, I feel there was a time I think when I think like the last gentleman there said that I was obsessed with what I thought was a particular thing called non-duality, like it
yeah.
was a new world I discovered, right?
Yeah.
There was Zen, then there was this non-duality. So that was a different box, which I fell
Yes.
into for a long time.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like I'm in a different place now where I feel for a good, well, about 2 years is like, dare I say I can't be arsed with it. I've gone
Oh,
another
yeah.
way where,
No,
where
that's a bit irreverent, Richard, to be honest. I don't really. It's
no,
kind of.
it does feel it does feel a bit like that, but it feels as if I now almost get a sense I can't. I think I used to think something may happen one day, right? So then that completely is gone. I thought, well, what do I actually think will ever truly happen that's different than what's going on now?
Yeah.
Right? But it's such a powerful itch, that thing, that something
Oh, yeah.
more heightened or different,
Oh,
or
it's
some version of big me will definitely fall away. There'll be some
incredible.
finale
Oh, it's
that'll
incredible. It's unique to everybody, and obviously the story is completely unique to that body. But I mean,
yeah,
it's a contracted, apparent reality. So that person's itch will be different to yours, but there'll be a really lived feeling that when I make that money, then I'll be there, or when I get that relationship, then I'll be there, or when I do blah 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 blah, whatever it is, and it feels so real, and it feels like there is a there to get to, whatever that there looks like for you.
sure.
And so there's nothing that's just energetic, and it will be like that till it isn't. Yeah. That's the sense that is simply the sense of feeling separate. That's what that is. Yeah.
I mean, equally, I've got in what feels like it feels like a lot of emotion and strong story going on. I've got a brother back in Ennis. I'm from Ennis, but I've lived in the UK for ages,
Hmm.
and he's been in hospital 5 times in the last year with pancreatitis, and he's 2 years younger than me, and he's essentially in a really bad way with alcoholism. And I've been blessed that I haven't had a drink for 25 years, and when I stopped drinking, it apparently seemed suddenly then there was an appetite for spirituality that wasn't there before, right?
Yeah.
So I got into 12-step work, got into all kinds of stuff, but the energy that's in this character for this stuff has been so powerful and exhausting. It's wearing. It's like you get to a point where you think, well, where's this all, dare I say, not going, but I know there's no going anywhere, and it's kind of maddening. It's a bit like,
It is, yeah. Don't worry about the language because I don't care about the language. Doesn't
okay,
matter. It
fine,
really doesn't
okay,
matter.
okay,
You know what I mean?
okay,
It's just all
okay,
the language doesn't matter because all anybody can do is just try and express anything as best they can.
okay,
Right?
okay,
There you
okay,
go.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
fine, yeah, thank you. It just seems like in one part of the story here, I've got my brother who appears to be in an awful way with alcoholism,
Yeah.
and I got sober, and I still struggle sometimes with the idea that it's real and it's unreal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when I speak to him, I just spoke to him an hour ago. He's been out of hospital. He's out of Limerick Hospital, and he's not good. And then I'm last week 25 years sober, and there's this whole other world of uh, I don't know. Like, here I am, open, even just being open to this. I can't imagine I would have never been open to this kind of stuff years ago, ever in my wildest dreams to some degree.
Mm.
Whereas my brother at the moment appears like he can't even look after a cactus. He's
Cactus,
just,
yeah.
do you know what I mean? He's not really, you know what I mean? He can't look, he's not open to anything, and he's in a terrible state, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and, and yes, sometimes I feel like it's real, it's not real, and yet it's so tempting to think what's going on for him is really real, and what's going on here in terms of, dare I say, sobriety, and having had a very strong story that I'm an alcoholic and I'm sober. It, it's all been very real. Although saying that, even though I go to AA meetings, I feel very different to what I used to do. I feel like I also see through a lot of that story, whereas
Yeah,
before.
it's a narrative, you see. That's why it's a
It's a
narrative.
very powerful, yeah, and it's a very powerful one when you think, now it's helping me get clean and sober.
Oh,
But
completely, of course, yeah, because that's your lived reality. The lived reality would be,
right,
I had a drink problem. I found the 12-step program. It got me sober.
yes,
Part of this new reality, this new narrative is that I go to these meetings and I continually confirm to everybody that I am an alcoholic. I will be an alcoholic till the day I die, and this is what keeps me sober. So then that's that particular narrative. So as an individual, that would be real, and that's it, really. So it's not, it's just another narrative. That's all it is. Just another narrative. So like the way I would think about what you just said there is that there's you and your brother, and they're just both ways of being alive. They're just both alive ways of being alive. That's all. But we have one is obviously unhealthy, one
yeah,
is healthy, one is more joyous and feelings of well-being. The other is very contracted and chaotic and whatever way, limited, very limited. You know, if you have severe alcoholism, it's handicapping in that sense. Like it's
yeah,
so, but they're all actually when if the personal was to collapse, as in the individual, the parent individual, then it would be seen. It's all just aliveness. That's actually what it is, and none of it has any meaning or significance. And being the alcoholic, is a way of coping with an apparent sense of separation, and is a way of searching for something as much as being meditative or being into something else. Although
I mean,
again, as we said, one is obviously wrecks the body and the other probably maybe nourishes the body even or whatever, but it's just all aliveness. That's just incomprehensible to the individual because it's impossible. The individual is like, hang on a minute, one is healthy, the other is unhealthy, one is good, the other is bad, and that's it. You can't really break out of that, you know. But actually it is, that's the way it is. It's all aliveness.
could I ask one more question? I'm mindful of taking like
No, you're
time on the
not
mic.
fine. The way this works is if someone has a burning question when someone's talking, they put up their hand.
Oh,
So you can just talk away, you're fine.
okay.
Mm.
It feels as if here, let's say prior to 2000, roughly 15, when I really heard this message, and I started uh, going to Tony. I went to a couple of Tony's retreats, and I
Yeah.
spoke to him, and then I met a couple of people there, and that was prior to me having children. Okay, then
Yeah.
2015, a little child appeared, and now there's another one,
Yeah.
and it seems as if the intensity of early childhood was so strong because I started to look at. I reduced my hours so I could be a kind of more of a hands-on dad,
Yeah.
and what it revealed to me was, well, first of all, the joys of parenting and the challenges,
Yeah.
and
It's everything.
what came up was, well, what didn't seem like apparent trauma, but it felt like I could see where some of the roots of my own addictions may be coming from my own lack of parenting or trauma that didn't happen when I was young through the act of me parenting. It
Yeah,
just
that's fair
seemed,
enough. Yeah.
I just wonder what you think around, I don't know,
I just think I think
trauma.
we overcomplicated it, and then what happens is trauma is just energetically held information in the body. But then when we feel
Yes.
like an individual, we weave it into our narrative, and it's very popular now to talk about trauma and overcoming trauma and seeing your triggers and seeing the different trauma types and coping strategy, blah blah blah. I know all the language. I've lived. I was in that on a professional, so-called
Okay, though.
professional thing for years and years. So I've followed this narrative of trauma for years, and it's just a story to me. That's what it is, really. You know, and it becomes like another thing for the individual that when I address this trauma, then
Mm.
I'll be there. It's very, very popular at the moment, you know. So that and
I,
that's
I,
what I see for the individual is that it's like things come they go in and out of popularity, like being in the now, being in the moment, then mindful awareness, then trauma comes up then and if someone feels that they have trauma and they're working on the trauma, then fine. I mean, it's not as if I'm saying that it's bad or anything. It's just
no.
it's just a story is what I'm saying. And this is a suggestion that goes to the heart of it all, which is that you don't actually have anything, nothing, no trauma, nothing, because there is no you there. There never has been a you there. And when that sense of being you appears to collapse, so does everything else. Just is woof. That's the scene, and then
That's
all
a big,
sorts of
that's a
realizations
biggie.
can happen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, all sorts of realizations can happen, but they don't matter. You know, like a realization would only be significant if there's a real thing called a you and a real story that's significant. So, like energetically, all sorts of huge thing. Like it can be. I know it was here and other. I've heard from people like insight after insight after insight after insight. Oh, this is what that was about in relation to my mom or my dad and da da.
Mm.
But it's just energetic, and it doesn't need to be written down on a piece of paper or even remembered because it's just It's just doesn't matter. It really doesn't
I
matter.
mean, I feel like I've had huge insights and dare
Yeah,
I say realizations over there.
yeah.
And what are they to me now? Nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't
Like
matter. None of them are significant. They're only significant to an individual who has a story and weaves them into their narrative of their story. That's what it is. This is about something that's so immediate, direct, and ordinary, cannot be described or known. And that's it. It's inescapable. It's total alive. That's actually what's yearned for. But the individual has its version of what's yearned for, in which they will tinker and layer and add and put in, and it'll always be a new one. Like oh, there's this, and then there's trauma, and then then the next thing is intergenerational trauma. The trauma is actually from your grandfather, and it just gets like the individual just loves complex and difficult and trying to understand all of that, because all of that is endless. It's never ending, and it's just feeding the me. That's all.
In a way, when you say that, it's like it's tempting to think people think the addiction is the substance, the gambling, the sex, the thing. But when you're speaking there, I hear it like the me is almost
Yeah,
addicted to
not almost.
constantly looking for a
Yeah,
narrative. It's
totally.
lost without a narrative.
That's why you'll see someone who's an alcoholic gets sober and becomes a gambling addict, then
Yeah.
gets on the gambling, becomes a sex addict, then gets off that and becomes a drug addict, and then maybe cycles back to the drink again. Because actually the biggest addiction of all was just me. Or I worked with people, I don't like saying heroin addicts. It's such a kind of pejoratory kind of, I don't, and that I'm not playing with words either, because all it is, we're all just humans that are trying our best. Some people it's alcohol, some people it's heroin, and that's just the way it is. But people would then look down on someone as if you're an
Yes.
inferior being. But anyway, so if heroin addiction is happening, what I noticed with it was someone will get off it, because this is a story now from the social work. And what was very obvious was what was more difficult, and much, much more difficult, way more difficult, was the drama. That they couldn't get off the drama. And the drama was about me. So they'd get sober, or clean, whatever term you want to use. Things would ostensibly improve. They might get their kids back and everything's going well. The drama, they just cannot, it's impossible. It's impossible. And all I saw was the drama was their sense of being an individual. Oh, like I got pressured into it from this friend and this person and that person. Stories, stories, stories. It's all about it. Me is the biggest addiction. It's all about a sense of separation, which is not an idea or a concept. It's a lived, energetic sense of feeling there's a world out there and a me here. And then there's a desire and a yearning. That's what that is. Something's missing then. So it's a comforting for something that's missing, if whatever the addiction is. And it's also like a release from that, like forgetting of that or whatever, maybe.
Yeah, because I think I was probably about, I don't know, about 12 years, 13 years sober before I realized, wow, I'm actually now, it feels like the addiction had gone on to spiritual seeking. It
Of
was
course it
like
had. That's exactly what
me,
happened.
it was gone on to me trying to get somewhere. Now,
Yeah.
now I was trying to get somewhere special. That
Yes.
was the latest addiction.
Totally. That's exactly it. Yeah. There's just aliveness as brothering, aliveness as love for brother, aliveness as concern for brother, and it will
Great
just,
for brothers.
yeah, it will just play out like it plays out. All it is, it's all unconditional love. And your brother dying, or maybe you, who knows? Maybe I'll be dead before your brother. Maybe you'll be dead before your brother. We have no idea. But it's that's unconditional love. That's just energy. It's an appearance. It's a release from a dualistic dream that you have a life. You don't have a life. Nobody has ever had one.
It's fascinating. I mean, this time last year, my childhood best friend died, who I'd known since the age of 5, died suddenly. And
Yeah.
I was back in Ennis at a funeral. And just like you said to the previous person, I was hit with not just a wall of grief, but I
Mm.
was shocked with how much love I was hit with.
Complete
I was
unconditional
overcome
love.
with
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Total
Well,
unconditional love. Yeah.
sat with the body all night. I was allowed to sit with the body all night.
Yeah.
It was such an amazing experience, actually.
Yeah. People even listening to that now will get goosebumps because they know what you're saying.
Mm,
It's often in these explosive moments that
yeah,
are linear kind of
it's flipped in a
journey
way.
through. Yeah, it explodes. Our linear causal reality just falls apart, and then
Mm,
it's just a beautiful invitation. It's all an invitation, but it's such an invitation to see you don't have a life either. Nobody has a life, and you don't know what's going to appear to happen as well. it kind of disrupts that sense of knowing of, oh, this is this and that's
Yes.
that, and then you go, fuck, that's such a shock to me. I was gonna phone him and now he's gone, and now I can't phone him anymore and I'll never see him again. And it's like the impermanence of everything sings
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
And
It
for
does.
many, they retreat into knowing and me, and they're very, very, very afraid. But if there's an openness there, and you can see, yes, there's sadness, and yes, it's this huge love, and it's everything.
Mm.
Aliveness is nothing being everything.
Thank you, Kenneth, so
Thanks.
much.
It's great to see you, Richard, and
Thank you so
you're
much.
welcome anytime. And
Thank you so
everyone
much.
else, what a nice little chat that appeared to happen there on a Friday apparent afternoon, huh? Tobias didn't even get to chip in this time. He's just soaking it in there. I can see you just it's what's
I'm
happening,
just
man.
all's good.
Oh, it's nice to see you.
Oh, Kenneth, it's too hard to describe.
Well, it's not. I can't describe it either. So there you go.
Floating along quite happily.
Yeah, I know. I'll talk to you soon again. We have to talk about
Lovely.
that
Yeah, I'll
thing
be
in
on to
Wales
the
and
next
stuff.
one.
It's still on my radar at some point. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sort of
Yeah.
in and out with the doctors and stuff. So, like, when it happens, it happens.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
no worries.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
run away because
Yeah.
Alexis is on in 1 minute.
No, I've got to go anyway. So all the best. Nice to see everyone.
Okay.
Right, see.
Look
Take
after
care,
yourself.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.